وصايا الحظر والإباحة we're going to read together. We'll read through just as like textual discussion. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasul. Amma ba'd. So basically, we are going to discuss. Well, let me just close it down. Kitab al-Sayd wa Dhabayah. So it is in terms of hunting and in terms of slaughtering. Okay, so that where we're going to discuss about this HMC certified gosht. Okay, Sayyidi. So in terms of hunting, the main criteria for permissibility of hunting is it should be an animal which obeys you, which does for you. Okay, so that's why, for example, cheetah, okay, is permissible. Okay, or what do they call this cat? Is it lynx? Lynx, because it listens to you, it obeys you. Okay, puma, I'm quite skeptical. Tiger, jaguar, lion, not permissible. I would say big bear is not, but small ones permissible. Okay, because these animals, they hunt for themselves. Do you understand? But it should be by your order, permissibility. So any animal hunts by your order, so that is permissible to be used in hunting. Okay, so for example, the falcon. Okay, all sorts of falcon, but there is this type which is do you know, with yellow eye? I don't remember what do they call it in English, but it's falcon but with yellow eye. Okay, so they say it's permissible in fiqh. Okay, but according to that criteria, I would say no, it should not be, because it can actually attack on the owner and fly away. Do you understand? Okay, so anyway, so that is the main thing. So any type of animal which can be trained and listens to its owner, so all of that is permissible. Okay, so all of that is permissible. Okay.
Is there a reason behind that so that it doesn't attack the owner?
No. So it should be by your order. So it's the same as lion hunts for itself, and then you go saying, yeah, I did it to happen. No, it was hunting for itself, but it should be by your order. Yeah. Okay. And then so it should be trained. Okay, it should be trained because it says mukallibina. Mukallibina means it is trained animal. Okay, so but if it's not trained, so you just bought it and then you took it for hunting, and then it is hunting actually. Okay, but so is it permissible for you to eat it? So according to Hanafi school, no, because you did not train it. You just bought it, but now it belongs to you, but you did not train it for hunting. Okay, so the mashayikh took the training from this word of mukallibina, tu'allimunahunna. So it is the animals that you train. Okay, and how do we know if it is trained or not? So after ordering, it hunts and brings it back consistently 3 times. But if it does once and second time, it hunts and takes it and run away, eats and comes back. Okay, so not yet trained. Okay, So that is the main thing. Well, so it's quite easy. Um,
You know,
yeah,
let's say for a predator like a lion hunts,
yeah.
and for example your dog hunts, it's the same sort of meat. So why would the like technically it's the same?
Yeah, obviously, right now I'm just limiting myself within these, issues. However, we Muslims we have this paranoia in terms of halal and non-halal thing. It's not as we think. Yeah, so that accuracy and all of that is, inshallah, now we're going to discuss the main criteria. The main criteria, as Quran mentioned, it should not be a dead meat, killed. We know the difference between dead and killed. But then, mashallah, our mashayikh, they went further. So just being killed is not sufficient. On top of being killed, we have our own criteria. And, just they're listed. Most of it is based on opinions, few on single chain narrations. You cannot set up the haram on single chain narration. Makruh, maybe. But haram, for that we need tawatur, according to our principles. No, but so that's one thing. And the main thing about the mushriks, the haram meat of mushriks. So the main thing about that is, if you remember in the time of Rasulullah ﷺ, these mushriks means Ibrahim, the ones who used to follow the religion of Ibrahim, Quraysh. So they have boycotted Rasulullah ﷺ, saying anyone cannot marry them, and you understand. So as a response, because sometimes if you want to get your right back, you have to take some firm stance. Am I right? Okay, for example, this guy is not giving you your right, so do not speak to him until you get back your right. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Okay, so look, for example, is it permissible to marry a pagan, mushrik? What do you think? I'm Muslim, I want to marry this pagan lady. Pagan means contemporary Muslims, okay, who have so many scholars to follow, besides God, in opposition to. So it is mushrik. So can I marry them? According to official position, no. But Quran says, non-righteous people, do not marry off your daughters to them. Let them to go to marry non-righteous people, non-righteous women, or pagan women. Do you understand? Well, non-righteous is Muslim. But this verse is talking about letting them to marry pagan lady. So what's going on in there? So it's not that fiqhi issue, but it was some certain technique which Rasulullah ﷺ was taught by God to have firm stance. Do you understand? For example, these low-class people, how do they get back their right? By slandering you, by insulting, by by acting like cheap girls from that canal river street. Isn't it? But noble people as Prophet ﷺ, you do not expect it. You do not expect it from him, isn't it? So God taught him how to get his right back, but firmly. So how firm stance of noble person such as Rasulullah will be? Do you understand? No. So it is a bit. But anyway, let's study the fiqh, okay, and then let's study the usul. Inshallah, it will open up by itself. Okay, Sayyidi. And also, after your animal catching the prey, now you have to walk towards it. Okay? If you catch the animal alive, you have to slaughter it. Or else, if you do not slaughter, if you leave it dying, it is mayta, according to the official Hanafi fiqh. Okay? Well, isn't it that the animal did catch and did cut also? So if the prey is going to die, so it's because of the wound. Okay? But no, that was dhibh of darura. Dhibh of darura and dhibh of the normal condition. So now you are in the normal condition. So you have to perform the normal criteria. Inshallah, we're going to discuss. But what is the dhibh of darura? Dhibh of darura, wounding the animal anyhow you can. Okay, for example, the sheep is falling off from the cliff. If it falls off, mutaraddiya, Quran says, haram, don't eat it, mayta. But you have got some certain sharp stone in your hand, you throw it. You do not do the proper slaughtering, but you wound the leg. And it will be bleeding. Now, even if it falls off, it's not mutaraddiya, it's not mayta anymore. You can eat it because you did dhibh of darura. You understand? Okay? So, the prey is dhibh of darura. So, in the dhibh of darura, if you catch the normal condition, you have to perform it, or else it will turn to be mayta. So, it's easy, isn't it? So, that is the entire chapter is based on that. Okay, so means now we need to understand, now we need to learn the meaning of dhibh al-darura, okay, and dhibh in normal condition, dhibh of necessity. So anything which wounds, anything which makes the animal to bleed, that will do for the dhibh al-darura. And what's the meaning of dhibh al-darura? It's the condition in which you cannot perform the proper slaughter. For example, your animal is stuck between the rocks. Understand? So you cannot reach to slaughter, but the animal is stuck. You cannot move. You know. So from the above, you throw something sharp to wound the animal. So as soon as animal is dead, it became halal to eat. Dhibh of darura. So any condition in which you cannot perform the dhibh in normal condition, I mean the normal dhibh, so it will be so you can do the halal meat by dhibh of darura. But dhibh of darura, condition of it is you should bleed it. You should make it to bleed. You should cut it, wound it. Keep in your mind, wounding, bleeding should not be by a weight, but by sharp. Understand? So a weight means big rock. So it will be bleeding, but it's by smashing. No, but we need to cut. Okay, so for example, some of our contemporary mashayikh, for example, Mufti Taqi Uthmani Saab, he said that, do you know, hunting by weapon, not permissible, because he says, because it is by weight. Bullet is not sharp. So it kills the animal, it wounds the animal by weight, and not by the sharp. Do you understand? Okay, so for example, do you know the gun, pistol? So have you seen its bullet? It's like oval, and not sharp, like Kalashnikov, you know, that is sharp. Understand? Okay. Or do you know this, what do they call that spraying big, you know, it's not one but multiple small like balls. Do you know what I mean? It's a bullet. So it's not one bullet comes out sharp, but a lot of like balls, small balls. Do you understand? So when you shoot, it's not one hole, but a lot of holes, because there are a lot of small balls. Understand? So that is actually, you can argue, so the position of Sheikh Taqi Uthmani is quite applicable on this issue, because it's ball. So it does not kill the animal by sharp cutting, but by weight smashing. Because do you know that, do you know what TNT or whatever they call, do you know this burning substance? It gives weight, isn't it? Pushes. So that's weight. Understand? Okay. Or for example, you have wood. Do you know this Chinese wood? You throw that to the animal. So that is weight, isn't it? And not by sharp side. But if you make sharp on one side and throw the spear like that, so that is halal. But if it is blunt on both sides, and then you throw it like that, or by like width, you throw it to the animal, so that's by weight. Understand? So that will not do for the dhibh of darura. For the dhibh of darura, we need cutting sharp side. Okay. So based on that, killing the animal by stone makes it mayta according to the Hanafi school. But if you make it sharp, you know, if you sharpen the stone, then you throw it, it will do for the ذبح الضرورة. So based on that, we know that hunting is ذبح الضرورة, which means if you catch it dead, it is halal. If you catch it alive, ضرورة is gone, because now you can perform. Understand? So you have to perform the ذبح, the normal ذبح condition. Okay, so that is the main. So that is ذبح الضرورة. We learned all of the conditions. Okay, so based on that, can you use bull with no horns? Can you use the bull for hunting?
How will it kill them?
Sorry?
How will it kill the animal?
By teeth.
It's not sharp, is it?
No, because of that you cannot use. So even teeth can be used if you remove it, and it should be sharp. But as far as I know, the bull teeth is not for hunting. It smashes. But tiger, wolf, that is for hunting. You know, that's sharp, and it catches and it cuts such. So that will do for the الضرورة. But anyway, if you catch it, you have to slaughter.
So what sort of animals do they catch?
Sorry?
What sort of animals do they catch generally?
So anything which is halal. So it's not, for example, beside the swine and beside, do you know the reptiles and amphibians? So anything, inshallah, we're going to discuss in the chapter of Hadar wal Ibaha. Okay. So for example, we have animals, frogs, lives in the sea, in the water, and in the land also. In Hanafi school, not permissible. Understand? Yeah, and the sea animals only what is called as a fish. Okay, for example, we have this discussion about the lobsters. Okay, so Deobandi Mashayikh, some of the Deobandi Mashayikh say it is classed as a fish. So if that's right, so then yes. But if it's not classed as a fish, so then no. Okay, so dolphin in Hanafi school not permissible, because our Mashayikh gave two main reasons. The most popular reason, they say, because its name is Khinzirul Bahar, swine of the sea. Okay, well, isn't it that it is fish? So contradiction. And the least popular opinion says that Allah says سخر لكم ما في البحر جميعا. Okay, حملناكم في البر والبحر. Okay, حملناكم في البر والبحر. So they say, because do you remember the opinion of Abu Hanifa in which he says eating horse is haram, not permissible? What was the reason? Because Abu Hanifa said والخيول والحمير والخيول والبغال لتركبوها وزينة. So Allah created the mules, donkeys and horses so that you can ride and for beauty. So Allah specified the reason for creating them. So it is riding, lifting. Okay, and then Allah comes back in different verse. Allah says, "Hamalnakum fil barri wal bahr." So God is giving you a ride in the land and in the sea. So whatever is used to ride in the sea has the same hukum as the horse. Dolphin rides us also. So that is least popular opinion, reasoning for the non-permissibility of eating a dolphin. Shark, permissible because it's pure fish. Okay, so anyway, inshallah we're going to do this. So anyway, that is the ذبح الضرورة. So ذبح الضرورة, if you cut by sharp in the condition in which you cannot perform the proper slaughtering, it is halal. It is halal. Okay, Sayyidi. Then, so what about the normal ذبح? So for that, there are, for the full ذبح, we have 4 things that should be cut. Okay. Al-hulqum wal-mirri wal-wadajan. Okay, wadajan are these two arteries. These two. Al-hulqum wal-mirri. Mirri is the path of the food. Al-hulqum is the path of the air. So these four should be cut. But if you do three, so then it's permissible. So one of the, for example, arteries and throat and, so the two paths. So we say it's permissible. So what about cutting from behind? Makruh, but if animal stays alive until you cut these four, it is halal. Okay, and so also, for example, but what about like removing the head of a chicken? They do it. Is it permissible or not? What do you think? Just cutting off and removing.
With the bare hands or with
Yes, with the hands.
do not be because you need a sharp object.
Exactly. According to Hanafi school, it does not fit into our madhab, but because it should be cut. And also teeth. With the tooth, not permissible. But if you remove the tooth and use it, yes. But if as long as it's there and you use it, it is by weight. Okay? Yeah, so it's not permissible. Yes, so these are the main criteria of the dhibh. As long as it is performed, it should be certified by all of the organizations, HMC, etc. Okay. And besides that, so this is about dhibh. But what about, for example, you are in a Muslim land, Pakistan. Is it your duty to ask the shopkeeper if the meat is halal or not? Or you are in someone's house. In Pakistan, for example, we say no. In fact, sometimes you could be sinful for asking because you are having bad thought about a Muslim, which is prohibited. Understand? But if you have a solid reason, for example, you saw wine in the house, it's open, then you have right to ask. But can you eat without reason? I mean, without asking, we say just follow the strongest thought. Because just someone has wine, it does not mean that he eats haram also. For example, let's say that I do not pray, but I fast. Don't we have these type of Muslims? So, possible that the guy drinks wine, but he eats halal meat. Do you understand? Just to compensate, I remember one of my mashayikh, he used to be very like joking and keeping us very happy, like smiling, etc. So he said, so he used to give excuse to the people, sometimes if he would find out that some of his students commit sin, etc., has habit of smoking, etc. So he would give advice to him, but in the same time, just to not to just smash him, he would joke saying, don't worry, because if all the time we'll be doing good deeds, so right side will be too heavy, so we have to balance it, For me, sin does not mean anything, Committing sin is just nothing. For me, it's the nature. So, nobility, the noble person. So even if he commits sin, he will remain noble. He's not low. But some people are low class, but they go to Hajj. For me, it's just piece of nothing, Okay, so the nature. Okay, so that is more important. So if I find someone committing sin, well, just I ignore it. But if I find someone lying, that is low class, isn't it? Or low character. So even if I will see him praying tahajjud, I will say just forget about him, He has that evil character, definitely it will drag him to the hell. So sin is just nothing. So what? Understand?
Today, especially with the chicken, there's the stunning and all this stuff.
Yes.
And I think HMC is the only one that they actually monitor. They don't do stunning or anything.
Yeah.
And then the other organizations are, they might not mind stunning it. So now, we can only go off the halal sign in general, except HMC have their own specific halal sign. So what do you do in that situation?
Obviously, so we do have, I personally, in terms of practicing, I do practice this. But in my knowledge, I know that it's too strict. So halal and haram is only one criterion. Is it dead or is it killed? If it's killed, I eat it. How is it killed? Well, I don't really care. Okay, torturing the animal, so it should be avoided. But what about this non-Muslim slaughtering? Well, is it killed or not? If yes, so then I go with it. Okay, so stunning. Normally there is high possibility of an animal dying, isn't it? Yeah. So for example, according to our herbal medicine, do you know the people who's paralyzed, for example, sometimes half, etc. So do you know the blood which is stuck inside of the animal that causes that? Understand? So that should go out. Yeah. So but it's like a non-Muslim, like a Hindu. Well, is it slaughtered? Yes, I eat it. But if blood is stuck inside, I don't say haram. Do you know the paralyzed body, or for example, do you know the wheelchair because legs are not? So that blood causes that. The blood which is stuck not in the meat but in the veins and capillaries. So that causes that. Ahl al-Kitab, yeah. So and who are the Ahl al-Kitab? So Sahabain say, Abu Yusuf says, is Jews and Christians. Abu Hanifa says, anyone who believes in a revelation.
So, if it's an atheist?
Sorry?
If it's an atheist that slaughters the meat.
Yes, so what's the meaning of atheist? So for example, I will go to what people say is not important, isn't it? Yeah. Do you know the difference between Muslim and mu'min and mushrik and kafir? Kafir, the atheist that we're talking about, okay? So it's the person who learns and he evaluates and then he rejects after finding the truth. Understand? Okay, because it's not, but what about this just person, okay, just John Smith, okay, so he never studied properly. Okay, but his assumption or his knowledge about God is what he hears from the people or from the scholars. And we know the scholars in our time, they're just laymen, isn't it? For example, Christians. So for them, God is human, came down and was walking and was cursing that tree for not having fig in the winter. Do you understand? So that person is atheist, according to contemporary understanding. But is he atheist, according to, for example, our school? Not the Maturidi, but the Sheikh Abu Mansur Maturidi, no. Because what he's refusing, rejecting, we'd also do reject, isn't it? Rejecting the incorrect religion does not cause atheism. Do you understand? If you know Imam Ghazali, towards the end of his life, he followed that school. Did you read that? Just go and... So, according to him, according to Imam Ghazali, so the information should be authentic. So rejecting that causes kufr. But if it is damaged, so rejecting that does not cause kufr. Sheikh Abu Mansur Maturidi goes one step further. But obviously the contemporary Islam is the Athari Islam. And there is single chain narration which says, anyone who hears about my name and does not believe in me, he is kafir. Imam Ghazali and Sheikh Abu Mansur, neither of them have accepted this hadith. So just hearing the name is not sufficient. But it should be authentic knowledge. Understand? So for example, I will give you an example. Now we have this person comes and says, well, I do not believe in Islam. Why? Well, God, who orders his servants to go and invade and kill civilians, cannot be merciful God. So is he kafir? According to contemporary Islam, yes, because it's Athari Islam. According to Imam Ghazali and Sheikh Abu Mansur, no. Because God never has ordered us to go and kill the civilian people, isn't it? So he's rejecting the non-authentic religion, which does not constitute kufr. For the kufr, we need someone to learn the actual authentic message and reject that. We say he is kafir.
What they are willing to listen to that authentic message.
So isn't it that there are some certain reasons, isn't there? So if person is doing it stubbornly, he knows, and he's not willing to listen, so that is kafir, yes. But what about if his reason for not listening, he already saw many shuyukh and many priests speaking in very delicious language, but later he found out that they were just lying, just to show that the religion is beautiful. Do you understand what I'm trying? So if someone is refusing to listen to discuss with any scholar because of that, because he had bad experience of being lied to, dishonesty is a lot, isn't it? So does he have excuse? Well, Allah is just, isn't he? So I do expect that he has excuse for not listening.
So Sheikh, what do you class that group as then?
In Quran classes, if we remove the mushriks and munafiqs, so there are three criteria. Okay, Allah either speaks to the kuffar or either to the mu'mins, and sometimes God speaks saying, "Ayyuhan nas," O people. Who are these people? It's them, who are not mu'mins and who are not kuffar, but they're just humans. Okay, أيها الناس إن كنتم في ريب, O people, if you have a doubt about this, so then bring us a proof which is similar to Quran, because not yet they accepted or rejected. Understand? So they are yet in that process. So their category is nas in Quran. O people, أيها الناس إن كنتم في ريب مما نزلنا على عبدنا فأتوا بسورة من مثل وادعوا شهداءكم إن كنتم صادقين. So if you are honestly willing to find it, so then bring something similar. So now they have got the message. So now they will not remain like a nas anymore. Understand? So now they will go either he will be unable to disprove, and then he accepts the message, mu'min, or he will be unable to disprove but rejects it. He doesn't care. So that is kafir. Understand? But anyway, let's leave it for now. Okay, inshallah, we'll discuss all of that. I don't know. Are you guys studying Aqidah? Which book? Sanusiya. So that is Ash'ari. So do the Ash'ari and do the Maturidi and do the Hanbali also. Okay, so that you will have proper ground in the Aqidah. And after that, do the further research. Okay, so even for example, we have this Ash'ari Aqidah. Don't think that Juwayni agrees with Razi agrees with Ghazali. Even among them, a lot of disagreements. Understand? Okay, so which one is Ash'ari Aqidah? All of that. Ash'ari Mashayikh, reliable. And Baqillani, Ibn Fawrak. Okay, some of them are very Athari orientated. Ibn Hajar, Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari himself, very Hanbali orientated. Okay, some of them are very rational orientated. For example, Imam Ghazali, okay, and Imam Razi, okay. Some of them in between, Imam al-Haramain and those. Okay, so it's not just one thing. Okay, and if you go with us, with the Maturidis, so you will see everything. Yes, so you see the Mujassims also, Maturid. You will see Mufaw. All of them are just mixing and just a bit of everything. A bit of everything. So anyway. The most important thing for you as a student of knowledge is to get the proper foundation, okay, proper principles, and never stop. Just continue studying, continue researching. So first study the available published books, and then go for the manuscripts also. Okay, so what is published maybe even less than 5%. Oh, the books and authors that we have, Ghazal Khusari, for example, Maturidi Uthmani scholar. Very scary guy, His books are so amazing. Very consistent thinking, Yeah, so anyway. Okay, so that is the main thing about the slaughtering. So as long as slaughtering is done, so it is permissible. But then, what about the Ahlul Kitab? So in Hanafi school, the vast majority said no condition. Okay, but some said that it should be Ahlul Kitab, which is the real Ahlul Kitab, not the ones who are labeled as kuffar in Quran. So which groups of Ahl Kitab are classed as kuffar in Quran?
One that believes the Son of God.
That is one.
Fire worshippers.
No, Ahl Kitab. I'm talking about Ahl Kitab. And the second is the ones who believe in Trinity. So these two. Any Christian who believes that Isa alayhi salam was God, so his slaughtered animal is haram, maita, and anyone who believes that there are three gods. Understand? But all of them are labeled as Ahl Kitab. Okay? So as far as I know, our Deobandi and Berlawi Mashayikh, they took this stance. Especially Deobandi Mashayikh, they said, so the Ahl Kitab, Christians, it was in that time, which was halal. So in our time, it's only Jews and no one else. Okay? So that is one stance, one opinion. Inshallah, in the future, you guys are going to investigate and test its proofs. And we have another official position, which is the vast majority of Hanafis. So they say anyone who believes that he's Christian, so his slaughtered animal is permissible. Based on that, so for example, I will go to Poland. And Poland, especially some of the villages of the Poland, they do have church and they believe. So they believe that they're Christians. But if you ask them, they may say, yeah, Einstein is son of God also, you know. So can you eat their meat? Yes. As long as they believe that they're Christians. But no, being expert of their own theology, not necessary. As long as they say they are Christian, that's done. Understand? So based on that, if you go to some country with the majority of Christians population, you don't have to ask, you don't have to investigate, you know, you don't have to chess up if he is Christian. It's Christian country. Unless you see some proof. For example, you see the sign of Satan, you know, Satan worshipper in the butcher place. Now you can ask, are you Christian? But if no such a thing, especially if they have cross, so most likely it's Christians. You can just buy and eat it. Yeah. So we do have some very strict. So they say if they say by the name of Jesus and slaughter, you cannot eat. Okay, and even we do have in our books also. Okay, but the official position, they say no, as long as they are, because Quran even in that time mentions that Ahlul Kitab used to believe in this Trinity and Allah labeled them as kuffar already, but yet they are kuffar of Ahlul Kitab. Understand? And what is prohibited? Which slaughtered animal is prohibited according to Quran? Only one criteria. No. Which slaughtered? Slaughtered by pagan, mushrik. That is only. Understand? But then our later mashayikh, you know, after that they came, they said it is mushrik and kafir. It is umum khusus. Understand? Do you understand? So they said all mushriks are kuffar, but not all kuffar are mushriks. Do you understand? So we have to check this a bit more further. Quran is very accurate. Understand? So yet there is mushriks and there are kuffar. And yet there are Ahlul Kitab and kuffar among Ahlul Kitab also. And there are non-kuffar of Ahlul Kitab also. Quran praises them, isn't it, in multiple places. So who are they? Understand? So being Ahlul Kitab is not necessarily kafir. And being kafir is not necessarily Ahlul Kitab. And also, mushrik is different. The definition of mushrik is different to the kafir. Kafir is different to the mushrik, but could be kafir and mushrik also. It's the same as mu'min and mushrik, isn't it? Someone is mu'min but mushrik. What Allah says, وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ إِلَّا وَهُمْ mushrikun. So mu'min and mushrik can be, but mu'min and kafir, no, it's opposites. So now you just go out, it is just nas, layman. They are not mu'mins and they are not kuffar, as Abu Hanifa said. When you present the authentic information, now their countdown started. Either they will turn out to be mu'mins or kafirs. So if they will be mu'mins, could be mu'min mushrik. Do you understand? Okay, so anyway, well, I said that it could be kafir mushrik. Okay, well, in some certain very rare occasion. Or else for you to be a mushrik, you have to believe in God. The people who do not believe in God, they cannot be mushriks, according to Quranic meaning. But according to the theological, yes. Understand? So it is, okay, so anyway, inshallah, you guys are going to learn about all of that in the Aqidah. First, just study the official Aqidah. And after that, you will study further. Just keep in your mind, mushriks are always believers in God. Non-believing in God means impossible for you to be mushrik if you do not believe in God. Okay. So anyway, anyone who believes to be a Christian, even though he does not know his belief, so his slaughtered animal is the same as Muslim, layman. You go to Pakistan, Uzbekistan, they believe that they are Muslims. But if you ask them about, for example, the Aqidah, they may not know. So do we say their animal is haram? No. He's saying that he's Muslim, we just go with that. Unless he verbally makes the kufri statement saying, well, I don't believe that God is merciful. Understand? But I believe in God, but you understand. So then we have doubt. But if he says, I'm Muslim, so the job is done. Okay, Sayyid. Okay, so anyway, just go through the text and read it by yourself. And we have, in terms of slaughtering, we have two types of slaughtering. One is dhibh and one is nahar. Who remembers what's the difference? What is dhibh and what is nahar? Okay, nahar. Yes. Dhibh is for the sheep. Okay, dhibh is from the top of the throat. Nahar is from here. So actually, nahar in Arabic language means this. Allah says, وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُورِهِنَّ عَلَى جُيُوبِهِنَّ. So in that, Ibn Abbas says, نُحُورِهِنَّ. Nahar is this. Okay. Do you remember these Salafi brothers love this? They say, فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. Authentic hadith from Ali radiallahu anhu. Imam Ali said, فَصَلِّ, pray, for the sake of God, وَانْحَرْ. Nahar is this. Do the nahar means place your hand on the nahar. Authentic hadith. So according to the authentic hadith, Imam Ali said that. Understand? Do you know what Abu Hanifa and the Hanafis did? In response, they said, "Wah!" You know, that was the response. Oh, authentic hadith! I'm telling you, haddathana fulan, and you are doing wah! You know. For that we do another wah! You know. No answer. One har means is talking about slaughtering and giving away, you know. So nahar is normally done for the camel, okay, because camel is quite aggressive animal. So if you cut from there, it moves, you know. But if you cut from here, normally they do not move because it's painful to move. Okay, so that's how they do. So that is. But what about the fish? How do you know where is the throat and where is the two arteries? So we say it is mayta, it is dead meat, but permissible one. Okay, so if you remember, Rasulullah said, there are two types of bloods and two types of dead animals, mayta, are permissible. So the two types of dead animals, it is locust and fish, because you do not slaughter them. It is dead meat. Understand? Only the thing is, when you are catching it, it should be alive. But what about if it was dead? So Hanafis say, if its belly was upside down, you cannot eat it. Okay, but you should just catch it. Okay.
Sheikh, one question on that. It says it's not permissible to eat a predator who's got canine teeth.
Yes.
But then it says it's makruh to eat hyenas. Don't they also have canine?
Hyenas, we Hanafis do not eat, Shafi'is eat. You have to go to chest of them, you know. In Shafi'i school, it's permissible. Hyena. Yeah, and Imam Malik says also permissible. It's better not to, but you can eat. Hyena and dogs also. So if you go to Mufti Abu Layth, make sure that you leave your pet in your house, or else he will eat it, Malik is. Yes, Eddie.
Just for this, like in general, now in this country, because we know there's so many ways that people kill, like chickens especially. What do we do when a Muslim place tells us the meat is halal? Because you can't have, like in the back of your head, there's all these different methods.
Yes.
Slaughter, etc., etc. Do we just go with what he says? Or
Exactly, yeah.
We do.
Yes, we do go with that, yes. Yeah, so, in terms of, Rasulullah sallallahu wasallam says, Inna dina yusrun, the religion is easy. فَأَوْغِلُ فِيهِ بِرِفْقٍ. So, deep into it, but gently. Okay? Rasulullah, in different hadith, Rasulullah says, هَلَكَ الْمُتَنَطِّعُونَ, and kept on repeating. Those who go too deep, they will be destroyed. So you make it complicated. So this this hadith, even though it's single chain narration, it is in line with Quran. Do you remember Musa alayhi salam? Go and slaughter a cow. Oh, you go and ask your God which color? Does it have to be circumcised? That type of silly questions, God and ask God, No. Musa alayhi salam said, فَفَعَلُوا مَا تُؤْمَرُ, just do what you have been ordered. Oh, going deep. So if you will carry on asking, it will be more complicated. Okay, so just ask the Muslim, is it halal? If he says yes, just finish. Just go for it. Yeah, and if you remember, we said sometimes asking the Muslim if meat is halal could be prohibited also. Okay, because you are doing bad thought. You are accusing the person for committing sin. You have no right for that, unless you have a proper proof for that. Yeah. Okay, Sayyidi. So these animals does not have any slaughtering way because it's just meta. Okay, so you just eat them as it is. Okay, al-adahi, udhiya.
So you're in this condition of not being predatory, does not count with fish then?
Which one? Not for Hanafis, no. Yeah, but Shafi'is do. Shafi'is compare the sea animals to the ground animals. Yeah, but we do not do. And I think the most strongest position is the position of Imam Malik radiallahu anhu in terms of being backed up, being consistent with Quran. So he says any prey of the sea is permissible. Quran says, وَصَيْدُ الْبَحْرِ. Saydul Bahar, the prey of the sea. Okay, so based on that, Abu Hanifa, according to his own principle, because what does he do? He does the urf and Quran, isn't it? Or brain and Quran. So in here it is urf and Quran. So for example, whatever is classed as a prey, you can eat. So for example, Uzbekistani people, they only hunt fish. For Uzbekistani people, sea prey means fish. But in Thailand, they eat even octopus. So if they consider it as prey of the sea, so then it's permissible for them. Do you understand? Because Soydul Bahari, but God did not explain what is exactly. Means leave it to the people of that locality. Understand? So for example, Abu Hanifa has got something called whatever Arabian mindset considers disgusting, that is not permissible to eat. So for example, do you know flies and all of them insects? Can we eat? In Hanafi school, Arabians, they find it disgusting. So that's why we do not. So it is urf. Abu Hanifa is using, involving the urf. Do you understand? Okay. So anyway, so that is about this one, Sayyidi. Okay. What do we know about Qurbani? Udhiya. Okay, so we have two positions. Two positions within Hanafi school. One says Sunnah Muakkada. Okay, but the official position says it is wajib. Sunnah Muakkad, it is the position of Imam Muhammad. For me, in my own understanding, that should be the strongest position. Okay, but anyway, we have the official position says wajib. Okay, for each single mukallaf. Or one cow or camel for 7 people. So all of them So anyway, the person, let's suppose that I have my family and my children. I'm responsible for anyone who is under my supervision, whom I'm providing to. But what about my wife? Am I responsible for her? No. But if I will do for her, will it count? Yes. Okay, but anyone to whom I'm providing, it is necessary for me to make qurbani. Can I do one for all? We say no. One sheep for each. Okay, but anyway, I would especially in the UK, I would go with the position of Imam Muhammad, which says Sunnah. Okay, and also for the validity, we need it to be slaughtered in the day of Eid after the namaz. Okay, but if I'm doing it, so means it should be by my time. Okay, and also if I'm doing it in Pakistan, for example, will it do if I pay their value? So for example, in here, let's say 200 pounds, but in Pakistan, 100 pounds. Okay, will it do? So they say, our mashayikh say, it's recommended for you to make your own payment. Okay, but anyway, as long as animal is slaughtered there, that is the most important thing. But also, just keep in your mind, keep in your mind that all of the conditions of Eid and Jum'ah is applicable in here. Okay, so based on that, it's not wajib for the people who live in the village. But if they do, that's good. But do they have to? No. So, do you know if you remember, Imam Ali says, لا جمعة ولا عيدين ولا أضحية ولا تشريقة إلا في مصر جامع. Do you remember? Imam Ali says that's our position. Jum'ah and Eid and Tashriq and Udhiyah, Qurbani, is not compulsory. Okay, it's not there except in the metropolis. So in the villages, do they have to do? They don't have to pray Jum'ah, they don't have to pray Eid, no Tashriq and no Qurbani too. Okay, so that is just general principle about that. Okay, Sayyidi. Inshallah, we are going to have very short break. The next is oaths. Taking oath. Okay, Sidi. So, just for your information, in the chapter of halal and haram, which we are discussing now, haunting, etc. So, whenever they say makruh, it means haram. Okay, it's the Hanafi terminology, Hanafi term. Okay, so. Um, Kitabul Ayman. So there are three types of oaths. Three types of oaths. Yamin Ghamus and Yamin Munaqida and Yamin Laghu. So Yamin Laghu, third one, is not a valid oath. Okay, but it's just normally when people say Wallah, Wallah, you know. Arabians, they have this habit. Wallah kunt hunak. Well, I think even in England, mainly Salafi brothers, they have this Wallah business, isn't it? So it's not oath. It's just nothing. Yeah, so Wallah, bro, I was just there, you know, bro, Wallah. She's a very beautiful sister, you know. She wears hijab, Wallah. You know? So it's like, it's just nothing. Bro, Wallah is just nothing, you know. They're quite naive people, aren't they? Salafi brothers, they're very naive, aren't they? I really like them, you know. Hey Allah. Yamin Ghamus, Yamin Ghamus, it is taking oath. So you take oath about something by lie, by deception. So for example, you say, I swear by the name of God that I am, for example, from Uzbekistan, and you're not from Uzbekistan. Okay? So, more accurately, Yamin Ghamus is oath about the past, deliberately deceiving. You know that it's not right, and you take oath about something which happened in the past. So that is this. Yamin Ghamus, it is major sin actually. As far as I remember, it is by consensus of Ahl Sunnah, it is a major sin. And there is only repentance. Okay, so repentance. And there is no any kaffara. Kaffara is only about Yamin Munaqida. Now question, what is the meaning of repentance? Repentance is you have to restore everything which you have done. So that is the meaning of tawbah. Okay, means by taking oath, you made someone to go to the jail. Tawbah for you means taking him out by clarifying. So if you made that oath in front of masses, so in front of the same masses, you have to go and correct your position, saying that you did lie and he is the victim of your oppression. Okay, so tawbah is not just saying astaghfirullah, 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 but tawbah is restoring whatever you have damaged. Okay, so yes, Eddie.
What if you do make a mistake?
Yes.
And then if you try to make things right, you will worsen things.
Yeah.
So do you try to make things right, or do you just leave it because it might get worse?
That is quite subjective question, you know. So you have to be wise enough. Yeah. So we do have some people. They use this argument just to defend themselves, you know. But inside they know that they're just lying. They say, if I do go to sort out everything, it will make it even worse, you know. Yeah. So for example, mainly it happens among the scholars. So for example, the scholars, for example, they target some individual. Okay, that individual gets a lot of oppression after that. But afterward, scholar will understand that he was wrong. And then in his mind, he will make this incorrect thing, saying, if I will go to admit that I was wrong, it will, so the level of scholarship will be disrespected after, you understand? You should not do this. Okay, Allah says, وَلَوْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِكُمْ. Okay, Allah says, tell the truth, even if it's against yourself, وَالْوَالِدِينَ وَالْأَقْرَبِينَ, or against your parents or against your relatives. You have to tell the truth. Okay, yes, so I remember this Mu'adh ibn Jabal. Well, Sahaba, you know. So in one of the, so he made some fatwa, and later he understood that it was wrong. So since then, in each single Hajj, Muslim season of Hajj, he would go to Hajj on his camel and shouting, "Oh people, I'm Muaz, anyone knows me, so I'm Muaz, the guy who said such and such. Now I understood that it was wrong, so anyone who did act upon it, just leave it now, it was wrong." This is novelty. Okay, no, but now there are a lot of, even Imam Ghazali speaks about it. Okay, so shuyukh, they say, like in terms of showing respect to the knowledge. So if I admit my error, so people will no more respect the scholarship, the level. So that's why do you understand what I mean? So Imam Ghazali very heavily criticized that. Okay, so that should not be the case. But sometimes genuinely, definitely, it will happen. Okay, so for example, you did something wrong, and if you go to admit, definitely it will cause big thing, Okay, so for example, our Sufi Mashayikh, they say, let's suppose that I did backbite you. So now if I go to you, it will hurt you even more. So do I go or not? Okay, so these Mashayikh say, first of all, if he already knows, no any way out. I have to go. If he already knows. But if he does not know, then I have to judge. If he finds out, is he going to be more upset or not? Okay, so then if he's going to be more offended, so then it's better to not to. But I have to fix everything else, because I was backbiting about him to the people. But some of our mashayikh say, no way. But you have to go, because sooner or later he will find out about it. Okay, so that's so these two schools say, you just be wise enough to work it out. Okay, Sayyidi. Okay, Sayyidi. Yameen munaqida. What is Yameen munaqida? So Yameen munaqida, it is genuine oath. Okay, so it is something that you say, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. So genuinely you take oath of doing it. So are you guys married? Who is married? Yeah, so your oath to your wife, which one of them three? My oath is lagu. I say, Wallah, it's only you. Because I say the same to the rest of four, So Wallah in here does not have any strength. Understand? And what about you? Yeah, so some of our mashayikh, they take even that very strictly. They say, even your wife, you should not do that. So even that will fall into one of three. But some say no. If it is, because women are quite emotional. Okay, so if it's not something harming them, okay, so that oath is not counted. Okay, but a big number of our mashayikh, they say no. You can maybe some time to time just white lie, but oath means oath, one of three. So it's not just laghu, because many Muslims, they think that your oath to your wife is laghu. No, in Hanafi, actually, we take it strictly. Allah says, وَلَا تَجْعَلُوا اللَّهَ عُرْضَةً لِأَيْمَانِكُمْ. So do not take the name of God as like a game for what you say. Means it's serious. Understand? So we take it seriously. Yeah. Did I spoil it for you guys? Because he was planning. But now it's only. Yeah? Only this. Yeah? If you don't want your dreams to be spoiled, don't come to my classes. Yeah? Okay, let's read through, please. قال المصنف رحمه الله ونفعنا بعلومه وبكم آمين. كتاب الأيمان. Al-Ayman is coming from the root of Yamin. Yamin, so what is the meaning of Yamin? Right. Yamin means this. Okay. Yamin means, but then why oath is called right? So right is associated with the strength, right side. So when you take oath, you are strengthening your promise. So that's why it is called Yamin. So Ayman is plural of that. Al-Aymanu ala thalathati adrub. 3 types. Okay, so as you can see, darb, adrub is translated as type, isn't it? Yeah, so because mashallah is mainly they take the meaning of beating, striking, daraba. Yeah. So I can say darabtu yadi ala sadrihi. I have placed my hand on his chest. Does not mean daraba. So darb, the literal meaning of darb is not striking, beating. على ثلاثة أضرب. So 3 types. يمين غموس. غموس in Arabic language غمس يغمس. What's the meaning of غمس? إذا وقع الذباب في طعام أحدكم فاغمسوه ثم انقلوه. In one narration. غمس means deeping something. For example, I can say غمست يدي في الماء. غموس. Because they say, because غموس deeps the person into the sin or into the curse or into the punishment. غموس. فعول. What's the wazn of فعول? It is used in 2 أوزان, which is صفة مشبهة and صبور. صيغة مبالغة. You guys are not studying صرف, aren't you? Which book? علم الصيغة, isn't it? You're not studying صرف?
No,
Okay, so يمين غموس ويمين منعقدة. منعقدة is from the root of عقدة. What's the meaning of عقدة? Tying something. منعقدة means valid, established. Okay, so set up. So it is the valid oath which you have to fulfill. ويمين لغو. What's the meaning of لغى? In the hadith, Rasulullah ﷺ says, من قال لصاحبه أو لأخيه يوم الجمعة والإمام يخطب الصح فقد لغى. Hadith. لغى, same thing. Anyone who says to his friend while Imam performing the khutbah of Jum'ah, if he says صح, stay quiet, then لغى. Laghu means useless things. هذا لغو. So for example, you see 2 people debating about just useless, you say just لغو. Okay, just useless things. So فقد لغى means, so he lost. He invalidated his reward of Jum'ah. Because the main purpose of Jum'ah is فَسَعُوا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, to listen to the khutbah. So that is لغو. Yamin لغو. So it's just nothing. So people just take oath. Okay. فيمين الغموس, يمين الغموس is here it is حلف. So it is taking oath على أمر ماض. It is taking oath about something in the past. يتعمد الكذب فيه, deliberately lying. فهذه اليمين, so this oath يأثم صاحبها, its owner is going to be sinful, as I said, by consensus of Ahl Sunnah. It is a major sin. ولا كفارة فيها, but no كفارة إلا التوبة والاستغفار. Okay, توبة and استغفار. Okay, so what's the meaning of توبة and استغفار? توبة and استغفار, because he's mentioning both. You have to do both. What is توبة and what is استغفار? We already discussed the توبة. توبة is restore all of the damage. Istighfar is it's coming from the root of mighfar. Mighfar is, do you know that what do they call this? Helmet. That's mighfar. Istighfar is protection. So you did do the sin, so it will have its comeback, isn't it? Negative consequence. Istighfar is seeking protection from the bad consequence of what you have done. But tawbah is restoring whatever you have done. Okay, and then asking God for the protection of what you have damaged. That is about يمين الغموس. واليمين المنعقدة. Here, أن يحلف على الأمر المستقبل أن يفعله. So it is about something in the future. You take oath that you are going to do. أو لا يفعله, or that you are not going to do. فإذا حنث في ذلك لزمته الكفارة. But if you will be unable to fulfill, so now we need kafara. Inshallah, he's going to explain. ويمين اللغو, يمين لغو, وهي أن يحلف على أمر ماض. So it is taking oath about the past. وهو يظنه أنه كما قال, and he thinks that that's how it was. So for example, you will text to her saying, "Oh sister, I'm 20 years old, but you're 42." Then I thought that, but yesterday I was 20, 19. So today I'm 20. So that's yamin lahu. You are not sinful because you thought that you was 20, but no, you are 42. Is it yamin lahu? Okay, Sayyidi. فهذه اليمين نرجو ألا يؤاخذ الله تعالى بها صاحبها. And we hope that, inshallah, this type of oath, a person will not get any punishment. Okay, and then he says, وَالْقَاصِدُ فِي الْيَمِينِ وَالْمُكْرَهُ وَالنَّاسِ سَوَاءٌ. Well, obviously it is based on the athar also. Taking oath deliberately, or the one who is forced to take oath, or the one who forgot. All are equal. Well, وَمَنْ فَعَلَ الْمَحْلُوفَ عَلَيْهِ مُكْرَهًا أَوْ نَاسِيًا فَهُوَ سَوَاءٌ. And also fulfilling the oath, regardless, by your own choice, or you are forced to do so, is also same. For example, I say that I take oath. So when I was marrying, I said, I promise that I will not marry for a second time. But then this sister took me, and then she forced me. I had no choice. Forcefully, she paid me mahr, I had no choice but to say accepting, Accepting. Women don't understand. Sometimes you are forced, to say accepting, And explaining it to them, no point. They will not understand. You need brain, Hanafi brain, to understand that, Okay, Sayyidi. So now I did break my promise. Well, I'm forced. Well, in the oath does not matter. You broke your oath, you have to fulfill the kafara. Okay, Sayyidi. Hey, Khuda. Obviously, in Hanafi school, the valid oath is only by God or His attributes. But if you take oath by anything else, we do not class it as valid oath. Okay, and our Salafi brothers, they go to the point of classing it as shirk also. Okay, well, in Hanafi, no, we would not say it's shirk, but we say it's not valid. So, for example, I swear by my father. Okay, you know, that type of thing. So we say, no, you don't have to fulfill it. So it's Hanafi, you know. So when she says only me, you say, I promise, I take oath by the bead of my grandfather that I will never marry again. You know, so it's not valid. So you can just go ahead, you know, next day, do it next day. So you see, being Hanafi is all the time good. Okay, so I think that's the main thing. Okay, now let's talk about the kafara. وكفارة اليمين, and the kafara is عتق رقبة, so freeing a slave. Does the slave have to be Muslim? Excellent. Imam Shafi'i says yes, we say no. Quran is mutlaq. But there is, in one, kafara, it has to be mu'min, which is murder. And we do not, we have athar, which specifies, even in this, we say no. Quran is mutlaq, so we do not specify that. المطلق يجري على إطلاقه قاعدة أصولية. Mutlaq goes with its mutlaq condition. And then another condition also, and another principle, أصولي principle, الزيادة على النص نسخ. الزيادة على النص نسخ. Okay, so which means adding extra condition to the text, it is obligation. So can single chain narration obligate mutawatir? Means you cannot do it. So because adding extra condition to the text is because you're obligating. Quran says just slave. But if you say believer, so you did add extra, so that you're obligated. So then we look into the strength of the text, which is adding extra. That was ahad. We say ahad cannot obligate mutawatir. So void. الزيادة على النص نسخ قاعدة أصولية. Okay, سيدي. عتق رقبة يجزئ فيها يجزئ فيها ما يجزئ في الظهار. The slave which is valid to be freed in the kafara of dhihar, it will do in here also. We studied dhihar last year, do you remember? Yeah. So mu'min, non-mu'min, if you remember, we spoke about all of that, male, female. وإن شاء, but it's optional if you want, instead of freeing a slave. إن شاء, if you want, كسى عشرة مساكين كل واحد ثوبا فما زاد. So you, if you want, you can buy clothes for 10 people, for 10 poor people, for each of them as a minimum a cloth which will do for the prayer. So it's better again to buy a cloth for the men. Shorts. 10 shorts. You can pray, yes. Just go, you know. It's better, yes. But women, you have to buy even that necklaces, you know, because it's like part of tasbih, you know, they do tasbih, you know, all the necklaces. We are better, man, better, easy. You don't have to, you know, it's not too much, you know, just shorts will do. Okay, so وإن شاء أطعم عشرة مساكين. But if you want, so it's optional. Feeding 10 poor people. Okay, so it's twice, isn't it? Twice. كالإطعام في as it was in the kafar of dhihar. Just go back to that. We spoke about all of that. So, but only the difference, it's not, it's optional. All three are optional. So it's not that if you cannot do this, then that, no. So you just choose any. فإن لم يقدر على أحد هذه الأشياء الثلاثة صام 3 أيام متتابعات. But if any of these three optional things, if you cannot do, then you fast 3 days continuously. 3 days. Normally, our Shafi'i Mashayikh, they criticize us by this. 3 days, because mutatabi'at it is narrated from Ibn Mas'ud. So isn't it that Quran is mutlaq and you are adding this as extra? Okay, so then our Hanafi Mashayikh, they gave 2 answers. Okay, so you just see if you accept any of them too. So in one answer they say it's mashhur. Okay, well, and in the second they say it was actually Quranic recitation. Do you know the Qira'ah of Ibn Mas'ud? Okay, the second is very weak. For me, it is very weak. Okay, because Quran is whatever we have got now in the Mus'haf. Anything else is not, okay, is not Quran. Well, it was before. If it was removed, it's no more Quran. Okay, so means we have to check only the first answer. Test: is it mashhur or not? Does it fit into the criteria of mashhur or not? If no, then we have to either say that doing it sequentially not necessary, or either we have to totally remove this principle which we said that single chain narration cannot add a condition to the mutawatir yesterday.
There's no narrations that mention there's verses of Quran removed and
No. We say it's like a commentary from the Sahaba. Yeah, so for example, even this one, it was commentary. So it is most likely to be opinion of Ibn Mas'ud. So most likely, maybe he asked Rasulullah, or he asked some of the Sahaba, maybe Abu Bakr, about this verse. So he said, no, it is mutatabi'at. Understand?
this whole thing about these verses that were in Quran. And now
It was removed.
now they're not there.
Yeah. I personally do not accept any of that. I believe it's lie. All of that is lie. Because God has preserved Quran. Okay, I do not accept any. But in Athari, contemporary Islam, they say no, it was, but it was abrogated. Mansukh tilawa. Its recitation is abrogated. Okay, but inshallah, we'll discuss all of that on its right places, inshallah. Okay, Sayyidi. فإن قدم الكفارة على الحنث لم يجوز. If you pay off the kafara before being unable to fulfill the oath, that is void. So after breaking your oath, you have to do it again. Why? What do you think?
Because you haven't broken your oath, so there's no kafara.
Excellent. So it is usuli issue. Because sababul wujub, the reason of compulsion, not yet there. Okay, and sababul wujub is actually shartul sahha also, condition of the validity also. So it's the same as the time of dhuhr. If you pray before, it's not, because both of condition of validity is also the condition of the necessity also. Both are same. So it's same also in here. It's, you guys are very lucky, studying fiqh with usul. So you link, okay. We link it together. It would be even better after perfecting the fiqh if you would go into the usul. Obviously, you are going to lose a lot of time, but you understand it properly also. So I did the second. So that's why I lost a lot of time in my. So I started the fiqh 1991. I did the usul 1990. So I lost 4 years. I could do both side by side, 1991. So by 1995, I would be doing the hadith and the rest of the things. But because I lost 4 years studying fiqh. Okay, Saidi. So that's all about this. Just go through it and read it. It's just examples to all of the principles that we gave. كتاب الدعوة. So we have about 40 minutes. I really wanted to read through the Al-Hadar wal-Ibaha. Okay, so if you can just go to the page number 689, please. We'll read through the chapter, and after that, if we will have a time, we'll just come back to the dawah. Did you guys take note for the comments that we did to the maybe some errors here there? Just contact Sheikh Tahir Kiyani and just pass it on to him if you was doing it. Just say that we're doing the book, and he will be happy. He's quite a good person. كتاب الحظر والإباحة. الحظر so is prohibition. Ibaha is permissibility. Abaha means he gave permission. حظر, he has prohibited. لا يحل للرجال لبس الحرير ويحل للنساء. It's not permissible for men to wear harir, silk. ويحل, and it's permissible for women. Okay, so obviously it is the disagreed upon issue even among the Sahaba. Some of the Sahaba used to wear it. Okay, so that's why we have second opinion which says it's makruh, disliked and not haram, because of that disagreement. Now my question to you guys: we have this principle which says what makes who considers. I don't think we did that in Usul Shash. Inshallah, we'll come back to that. ولا بأس بتوسده عند أبي حنيفة رحمه الله تعالى. But it is permissible, according to Abu Hanifa, it's permissible to use the silk as pillow or as mattress, for example.
Sheikh,
Yes, Eddie.
some clothes, they have like 20% silk in it, 10% silk.
Yes,
That's
permissible. Yes, it's fine. Inshallah, we're going to discuss. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Ed.
Quran that silk is haram to be worn.
No.
Why is it?
Single chain narration. It's based on athar. It's not based on our principles. Yes, athari fiqh. For the hurma, we need quite high, وَلِبَاسُهُمْ فِيهَا حَرِيرٌ. Allah says about the people of paradise, their clothes in paradise is harir. Understand? Then they brought this hadith saying, anyone who wears a silk in here, in this dunya, so he will not wear it there. Hadith. And another hadith which says Rasul brought these two things, silk and gold, in Khaybar, saying, I'm forbidding my nation from these two. But again, single chain, al-balwa and single chain narration. Some of Sahaba used to wear it, both gold and silk also. More than that, Khaybar is just made up. Khaybar never occurred. Yes, Sayyidi.
You set up this haram by mashhur.
You can do, but as you know, it will be on the level of wajib. Do you remember? So it's not, so amali fard or amali haram, but not kalami haram. Do you understand what I mean?
So will they not argue that it's reached mashhur?
It's not mashhur, that's the point, you know. It's not mashhur. And also in the umum al-balwa. Yes, Sayyidi.
You just mentioned Khaybar didn't happen.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Khaybar did not happen.
That the war?
Yeah, that war never occurred. Yeah, so if you go to read the Sirah of Rasulullah alayhi salam, just compare it, you know, Asbahani and Ibn Sa'd and Ibn Hisham, compare it. The time of Khaybar, Rasulullah was in MadIna. Some other commitments was happening. So just go back to that and just read it. Yeah, so Rasulullah invading into like a land of Jews, and Ali radiallahu anh picking up the entire gate by his own hand, using it as a shield. Do you know the gate? How big is it? You cannot use it as a shield. Understand? One person cannot, even if he is strong, it's not shield, you know. So it's like big gate.
Are there any hadiths which narrate like what happened in Khaybar or anything like that, or is it just pure based on seerah?
So the narrators of Sirah are the narrators of the hadith also. Imam Bukhari has included quite big number of ahadith from Ibn Hisham, from Ibn Ishaq, sorry. The Sirah of Ibn Ishaq. I'm Hanafi, you know that. Very pakka Hanafi. I don't accept them. Doesn't fit into our thing. Yeah, so for example, that hadith says Rasulullah ﷺ was walking out and he saw a lot of women killed in the battlefield of Khaybar. And then Rasulullah said, Ya Allah, I never ordered them to do so. Rasulullah does not do that. He will bring them and he will burn their backs, the ones who did. Just by saying, it was not me. Prophet never does that. He's a masculine person, you know. Okay, so he would be very angry. He would slaughter the ones who did this, you know. So a lot of mismatch, you know. The person who was walking around there is not the one that we know from the authentic texts to be Rasulullah alayhi salam, you know. Just go and read it. Rasulullah had a good agreement with big number of tribes, Jewish tribes also. Okay, and even when he died, his, if you remember, shield was as a deposit to this Jewish person. Do you remember? But the Sirah says Rasulullah kicked out all of the Jews. No, when Rasulullah died, his thing was Rasulullah borrowed barley by leaving his shield with the Jewish. Do you understand? Sirah, don't trust Sirah 100%. There are a lot of beautiful things, but some things which should be investigated further. Khaybar never occurred. Yes, Sayyidi.
So we're just going to say, normally people fabricate against the Prophet and his family.
Yeah.
Here, you know, the praising Hazrat Ali with the shield. Could it not just be a karamat of Hazrat Ali?
No, but I understand. Karamat happened, you know. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, even with Umar, do you remember shouting? So I don't reject that. I'm not Mu'tazila, I accept the karamat. But so let's imagine how. Do you know the gate? Can you give me some example? So this is not the gate. It's not the size of gate. Gate to city gate. Do you know how big is it? So I'm not talking about it's not possible to lift. As karamat is possible, but then he's using it as a shield. How it will look like? Do you understand? It's not so shield. So it's a very big thing. So he will not even see what's happening. You know. So Ali radiallahu anhu, his habit is he used to be first person to jump into the masses and not staying behind things, what's happening. He's not that. Others used to do, but Ali used to just jump in. Okay, and even our mashayikh used to say that he never used to wear that shield because he used to wish to get shahada. So he would give himself to get shahada. But in here, Ali is appearing to be as a passive person, behind the big gate, just waiting what happens next, No, it's not Ali. Either we don't know Ali, or either the Ali that we know is not this guy. One of two. Is very passive, scared person who is standing behind the gate. And everyone else is just, in the battlefield. Inconsistency for me is sign of weakness, So I use the inconsistency as like a sign of error. Could be falsehood also. وقال رحمهم الله تعالى يكره توسده. أنا كنت صاحبين. You cannot use it as a pillow. If you go to Uzbekistan, they use it as a pillow. The silk, very common. And even they use it as mattress to sit on it. ولا بأس بلبس الحرير والديباج في الحرب عندهما ويكره عند أبي حنيفة. And in the battlefield, it's permissible, according to Sahabain, to use the silk and dibaj. Dibaj is very fine silk, okay, because it is quite tough, It protects from the bullets. It's not like cotton. Okay, so if you throw, for example, knife, so it may hurt you, but it doesn't cut. It's quite tough, Silk is quite tough. ولا بأس بلبس الملحم إذا كان إبريسيما ولحمته قطنا أو خزن. So, because we do have two things, isn't it? We have, what is the fabric? So fabric is thread, like that and like this, isn't it? Okay. So the thing which is prohibited is, so if this is silk, but that is cotton, so it's permissible. Understand? Okay, because, but this and this should be the silk. So maybe it will answer to that question. Okay, he's not giving the further explanation, but so let me just clarify. So, for example, let's suppose that you are wearing a cloth, but sometimes we do have, do you know this, what do they call this corner? Like if you do so corner, it's silk. Do you understand? Do you know that decoration? Silk. Is it permissible? We say yes. As long as it is in one place, in one row, tighter than 4 fingers. Understand? It's coming from Umar radiallahu anhu. Okay, so 4 fingers like that. Okay, so if you place it, so it should be tighter than that. But what about if it is a lot? So we say in one place it should be tighter than 4 fingers. So for example, we have line here, then line there, line there. So in each place it should be wider than 4 fingers for us to say it is prohibited. But if it is lesser, so then it's permissible. Obviously, for the al-hadar wal-ibaha, I do advise you guys to study a separate book, okay, written. It's actually called al-hadar wal-ibaha by Imam Nihlawi, okay, or al-hadiyya al-ala'iyya. These 2 books are the best ever books for the al-hadar wal-ibaha. So they expand on all of them issues. So based on that, if you wear a tie, is it permissible tie? Silk tie, we say yes. Same thing, the belt. Silk, we say yes. As long as it is tighter than 4 fingers, always long. Tighter than that, so it's permissible. So based on that, in these Bollywood movies, they do that when dancing. This Amit Bachchan, he will have this silk thing in here. So we ask him to make it tighter than 4 fingers. Just contact Amit Bachchan. Next time it should be tighter. Okay, Sayyidi. ولا يجوز للرجال التحلي بالذهب والفضة. So obviously for the males using the golden jewelries not permissible, means haram in official position, but as we said that haram of amali haram. So obviously we do have, so it's not that fard and then wajib and then sunnah, isn't it? But we have fard two types, fard i'tiqadi and fard amali. Wajib is lesser than fard amali, if you remember. What's the difference between fard amali and wajib?
No repetition qada.
Of wajib, that's one. But in fard amali there is. That's only the difference. So the action without wajib is valid but naqis, incomplete. But action with no fard amali is not valid. That's only the difference. But you have to repeat. But in terms of denying it, does not constitute kufr. Both are equal, wajib and fard amali also.
So can you set up a fard amali with a single chain narration?
For fard amali, we need for that, as a principle, we need mashhur. But practically, there are many things they have used the single chain narration. Based on that, Ibn Abidin in Fatawa Shamia says fard amali could be set up by single chain narration. So he took it from practical examples. But as a principles, Sarakhsi and Jassas both said for that we need mashhur. So it is one of those. Okay, Sayyidi. Wal-fidda, and also the jewelries from the silver not permissible. So jewelries in here means, for example, necklace, etc. But then he says, وَلَا بَأْسَ بِالْخَاتَمْ وَالْمِنْطَقَةِ, the belt, وَحُلِيَّةِ السَّيْفِ مِنَ الْفِضَّةِ, and also the decoration of the sword, if it is from the silver. But for example, necklaces or earring, okay, from the silver for men is not permissible. And earring in itself, is it permissible or not? What do you think? So, earring.
Depend on your culture.
Excellent. That is the actual position. Even in our fatwa books, they say no. Depending on their culture, it was not permissible. But the main thing is the culture. Okay. Same thing we apply on the women also. So, for example, do you know they have this in India, isn't it? Okay, so in Uzbekistan, it's not acceptable. So we say in Uzbekistan, women cannot do that. But in India, yes, they can, because it's in their culture. Okay. Yeah, and also they say if you are wearing silver ring, so it is recommended that you have a stone, but you should turn it towards down, because they say that stone is for beauty, and man beauty does not suit the man. It's again based on that. I would say no, it's incorrect. Why a man should be ugly? It doesn't make sense, you know.
Stone, some people say you should get it, according to your star sign and stuff like that.
It's we do it in the herbal astronomy. Yeah, in herbal astronomy. So it's the same as do you know, for example, we have contemporary science speak about the allergy. If you have something or even some certain perfume causes allergy, means substances effect on the body. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. So it is in herbal astronomy. In Greek medicine, we do practice this. Yeah. So for example, you see this person, his house is built from the granite. He's all the time ill, cold illness. So catches infection straight away. Okay, but he is born, for example, he's fire person. So fire person should not catch a cold straight away, but because of the granite is cold. So it affects on the body, makes it weak. So it's all about that. But it's not like worshipping the sun, etc. No. It's the same as, for example, you live in the on the seaside, so your nature, your character is softer than the people who live in the deserts. Choleric person. So one of those things. ويجوز للنساء التحلي بالذهب والفضة. For women, it's permissible to use the golden and silver jewelries. Okay. Even only some of the tabi'een used to say that it's not permissible for both males and females, because they say in the Khaybar, Rasulullah brought gold and harir, silk, saying, I am forbidding my ummah from these two. Okay, but we have another narration in which we have this extra in which it says the males of my ummah. Okay, so but then some of our mashayikh, they say that extra is weak, but the authentic one is my ummah, means both males and females. Okay, so based on that, Sheikh Albani rahimahullah, you know, Sheikh Nasruddin al-Albani said gold not permissible for both men and women to wear. Okay, so that was the athari, you can say, fiqh. Sheikh Albani in many masail, he's very consistent, you know, with his own principles. I respect him for that. He disagrees with us because he's not rationalist, you know. But just because he does not agree with us, it does not mean that we have to disrespect him. So as long as he's implementing his own principles, means he's genuine, isn't it? But following us, he's not obliged to. But be consistent with your own principles. But if you're not consistent with your own principles, that is either you are not qualified academically, or you are you are not genuine. You know your principles, but then you ignore them. So one of two. But Albani is consistent with his own principles. So he says, whenever hadith is authentic, I just follow, and he does that also. Okay, so he's quite consistent. Okay, Sayyidi. ويكره أن يلبس الصبي الذهب والحريرة, and it is makruh for the boys, immature boys. So it's makruh for the parents to put on the gold and silk on them. Yeah, so they do have this principle, but it's not general, but it's akthari. So they say anything which is haram to take, haram to give. Anything which is haram to eat, haram to feed. Anything which is haram to clothe, haram to give to someone to wear. Yeah. We have this hadith in which Rasulullah gives as a gift, gives a coat, silk coat, okay, to Umar radiallahu anhu. And then Umar radiallahu brings it and says, Ya Rasulullah, well, how come isn't it that you said it's not permissible for us? So then Rasulullah said, I gave it to you not so that you can wear it, but so that you can give it as a gift. Okay. ولا يجوز الأكل والشرب والادهان والتطيب في آنية الذهب والفضة للرجال والنساء. Eating and drinking, and iddihan means using oil. Okay. Do you guys do the iddihan? Obviously, Rasul used to do it. Iddihan it used to be culture. Iddihan using oil for the hairs, etc. I think it's now fashionable, isn't it? Even men. They use gel, but also they use oil also. Beautiful. Fontaine of Paris, you know. Obviously, I don't have anything left in there, so I don't need it. I don't need oil. If I do it, I will look like sun, you know. Then you have to do this, you know. But you guys, yet you have a couple of hairs growing, you know. You should oil it, you know. Just a couple of. No, I'm talking to you. So don't look behind, you know. You know, it's really good, you know, to joke with the students. You can make fun of them, but they cannot make fun of you, you know. So that feels good, gives good feeling, you know. Don't worry, guys. Inshallah, when you will be sitting here after a couple of years, you will take revenge from your own students, you know. Okay, Sayyidi. So it's and tatayyub also using perfume. Okay, so for example, you know, when we use the perfume, you know, they have stick, metallic stick. So that being silver or gold, not permissible for both male and females. Okay, or for the oils that containers, silver or golden containers. Yesterday, it came on the news. In Emirates, they made you know, the toilet from the gold and the diamonds. It's the you can, I think you can still see it somewhere on the internet. I think it was yesterday. It was just a record, you know. So it's strange, isn't it? Who would use this? Maybe it's just to make it smoother. I don't know. But who needs it to be smoother? Humans sometimes. Okay, say it. ولا بأس باستعمال, and you know, in terms of this spoon and forks and also the knives, sometimes you can buy these silver ones, isn't it? They do use it also. Yeah. ولا بأس باستعمال آنية الزجاج والرصاص والبلور والعقيق. But it's permissible to use the cups, for example, from the glass. Or rasas. Rasas is metal. You know that, what do they call? It is silver color, like a silver color. It melts very quickly. What do they call that? Yeah, so, yeah, that's it. Well, balur is crystal and aqiq is sapphire. So, if your glass is from that, so it's permissible to be used. ويجوز الشرب في الإناء المفضد عند أبي حنيفة رحمه الله. And also you can use the container, plate for example, which is, it's not silver but painted in silver water. What do they call it? So it's not silver. So for example, it's just porcelain, it's this, but it is painted with the silver. What do they call that? Silver paint, isn't it? Yeah. But it's not silver, it is just glass. Or it's another metal, for example.
So, you know, I think in Pakistan before, they used to, whenever they used to make a sweet dish,
Yeah.
they would put like silver.
Yeah, eating, isn't it? That is horrible one. That is amazing.
So, would,
None of the eating, that's medicine. Yeah, because sometimes they use, you know, sometimes they use this herbal sweet sugar. It's very sweet, very hot, you know. So to cool it down, you need to do either lemon or either silver, or else that halwa is very, very hot. You may have headache also. So it's the design of one of the genuine herbalists, you know. Yeah, so it has like a herbal thing. I think till today they do it, isn't it?
yeah, but it's done less now. Before they used to do it for commonly, so you prepare a dish, sweet dish at home, and you put silver on top of it.
Yeah.
But now it's
I think quite recently I saw, I think, was it in Bradford or was it in Dewsbury? There is sweet shop, Pakistani sweet shop. These cubes, sweet cubes, covered, isn't, what do they, that's silver. Yeah. No, that is very wise design actually. Especially the person, Damawi person or choleric person eating those sweets, it will make him even more hotter. So you need to cool him down. Either lemon or something like that. Or either lassi, you know, with no sugar. Okay, Sayyidi. والركوب على السرج المفضل, and also sitting on the siraj is, do you know that on the horse, what do they call? Saddle, yeah, which is painted with the silver is permissible. والجلوس على السرير, and also sitting on the chair, okay, or on sofa, okay, which is painted, okay, which is painted with the silver color. It's permissible. Silver, I mean, color which is extracted from the silver is permissible. Okay, Sayyidi. ويكره التعشير في المصحف والنقط, and it is makruh to do ta'shir. And what is the ta'shir? After each 10 verses, okay, making sign, or on each 1/10 of Quran, okay, making some sign. Okay, so all of that is based on the statement of Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. He says, "Jarridu masahifakum." Empty your Qur'ans, your books. Empty means remove anything which is not part of it. Only what is verse that should remain. So what we have got now, so does not accord the Hanafi school. So for even, you know, signs, adding signs, qaf, jim, lam, you know, on the verses, all of that is, according to this, is makruh. Okay, but we say it was in that time, okay, during the time of Sahaba, Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he was trying to preserve Quran. Because, as you see, ignorance became very widely spread in the time of Tabi'in. So they would think that it is part of Quran, but it's not. And so that's why Ibn Mas'ud made very wise statement. So he said, "Jarridu masahifakum." Keep it clear, keep it clean, keep it free. Remove all of them extras. So yukrahu ta'shir, so making 10 verses, after each 10 verses some sign, or after each 1/10 of Quran some sign, all of that is makruh. One nuqat, and also adding some dots. It's based on the Kufi Mushaf. Okay, Kufi Mushaf. Obviously, based on my own research, the Hijazi Mushaf used to have dots. Okay, the Mushaf which is actually written by Rasulullah, I do believe that Rasulullah used to write. Okay, before the revelation, he never did, but Allah taught him, and after that he started writing. So he did write. So in his Mushaf there was dots, but when it was copied by the Kufi Khat, it was removed because it is the style, Kufi style. Okay, and later in the Kufi style it was added also, just by comparing to the Mushaf of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. So for some reason, as you know, Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he moved to Kufa, isn't it? So most likely the Mushaf of Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu was Kufi also. Most likely he used to use the Kufi style of writing, Kufi Khat. I don't know why in Hijaz, because Ibn Mas'ud, he's Hijazi. Okay, but for some reason he used to do the, for example, my writing style is Naskh. Okay, Uzbekistani style is Nasta'liq. Do you know that, Persian? But I use Naskh. So maybe something like that. So even though Hijazi style used to be there, but Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu used to use most likely the Kufi style. Okay, so he was talking about the Kufi Mushaf, Kufi style Mushaf. So that's why he said, Jarridu masahifakum. ولا بأس بتحلية المصحف, and it is permissible to decorate Quran. Okay, well, isn't it that jarridu? Well, decoration people can distinguish. It's not part of Quran, isn't it? But if you add, for example, Qaf and Jim, so it looks like Quran. But decoration, no one thinks that this naqsh is part of Quran. Do you understand? So decoration is permissible. But adding dots or, for example, letters, but that was applicable in that time, in the past. وَنَقْشِ الْمَسْجِدِ, and also decoration of the mosques permissible. وَزَخْرَفَتُهُ بِمَا, and also decoration of Quran with the water, with the gold color, gold painting is permissible also. وَيُكْرَهُ إِسْتِخْدَامُ الْخِصْيَانِ. Strange. Khusyan, it is, do you know, in the past, they used to chop off the genitals or testicles, to be more accurate, of the slaves. Okay, because the master, just out of jealousy, etc., his wife, his daughters, they would do that. So we say, according to Hanafi school, it's mutilation, musla, not permissible. Okay, but what about if it is already done to a slave? Can you buy? So in Hanafi school, as you see, it's makruh. Why? Because it encourages. So by buying, you encourage. Hey Allah. ولا بأس بخصاء البهائم, but in terms of doing this, it's castration. What do they call it? Castration, isn't it? Yeah. To the animals, he says it's permissible. Okay, so as he's like an official position. وإنزاء الحمير على الخيل, producing mules is also permissible. Okay, so it is when mule is produced by horse and donkey. Yeah, but they do not have descendants, isn't it? It does not continue. So that's permissible. ويجوز أن يقبل في الهدية والإذن قول العبد والصبي. But it is, you can say, usuli principle, isn't it? It's permissible to accept the testimony, the statement of the slave and the immature kid in terms of hadiyah and idhn. For example, your son comes to me with the book saying, my father is giving it to you as a gift. Can I accept it or not? As you see, yes. As long as it's mature, its brain is working, so then yes. And also, slave is trading in the market. Police comes, and slave says, I have got permission from my master. Can police accept this testimony? We say yes. وَيُقْبَلُ فِي الْمُعَامَلَاتِ قَوْلُ الْفَاسِقِ, and in the transactions, marriage and divorce, etc., or buying, selling, the testimony of the unrighteous person is acceptable. So righteousness is not needed. وَلَا يُقْبَلُ فِي أَخْبَارِ الدِّيَانَاتِ إِلَّا قَوْلُ الْعَدْلِ. But in terms of the religious issues, we need the testimony of the righteous person. So for example, you ask about the direction of Qibla. Okay, so, and you see this guy is non-righteous. We cannot accept it, but it should be righteous. But do we need the implicit righteousness, or will it do the explicit righteousness? In Hanafi school, explicit righteousness will be sufficient. Okay.
What if someone does something that affects his, for example, muru'ah?
No, he's not part of. No, he's not righteous. We know the definition of righteousness, don't we? Avoiding the major sins and not insisting on the minor sins, and avoiding the social, the things to do with the muru'ah. ولا يجوز أن ينظر الرجل من الأجنبية إلا إلى وجهها وكفيها. And two people, they're not married to one another, men and women, and they're not mahrams. So a man cannot look at her except the face and the palms. فإن كان لا يأمن من الشهوة لا ينظر إلى وجهها إلا لحاجة. And also if there is possibility that he could get excited, sexually motivated, so then even looking at the face and palm is not permissible unless there is some reason, some valid reason. Okay. ويجوز للقاضي إذا أراد أن يحكم عليها وللشاهد إذا أراد الشهادة عليها النظر إلى وجهها فإن خاف وإن خاف أن يشتهي. But if it is a judge or a witness and the case is against a lady, female, so it's permissible to look at her face even if they have fear that they will get that sexual desire. ويجوز للطبيب أن ينظر إلى موضع المرض منها. And for the doctor, it's permissible to look by necessity on the place, at the place of the illness. For example, operating, etc. وينظر الرجل من الرجل إلى جميع بدنه إلا ما بين سرته. So obviously the aura of a man is between the belly button to the knees. Obviously the belly button is not part of aura, but knees are according to Hanafi. But in Shafi it's exactly other way around. Belly button is aura and the knees are not aura. ويجوز للمرأة أن تنظر من الرجل. But it's for both of male and female. So female, I mean the aura of man for both of men and women is same. وتنظر المرأة من المرأة إلى ما يجوز. But the aura between two females is exactly the aura of man. Obviously the later mashayikh, they said if so they specified it with the Muslimah ladies. They said if it is not non-Muslimah ladies, so then she should stay in the hijab. Okay, so that's too deep. I wouldn't say that it's correct. And also further they said even if it is Muslimah lady, but she's not righteous, so then she has to keep hijab. Okay. And also we do have these women, they have very long tongue, they love to describe. Okay, so for them they say, our mashayikh say, if it is that type of women, it's better to stay covered because they go and spread all sorts of things about the women. وينظر الرجل من أمته إلى من أمته التي تحل له وزوجته إلى فرجها. And in terms of a man, he can look at his wife, just everything. And also if he has a she-slave, obviously in our time would not have, and it is based on the culture, on Arabian culture. As you know, in the Arabian culture, if you would have a slave, you could have sex with her if she's not married to someone else. So based on that condition, he's explaining. وينظر الرجل من ذوات محارمه إلى الوجه. Okay, so in terms of mahram, for example, your sister. So the aura of your sister for you is it's the same as a man, between belly button to the knees, but including the belly up to here on the sides. Okay, so from here upwards and from the knees downwards. So that's not aura. For example, your mother. And also they made the same thing. They made the same thing in terms of slaves, she-slave. Regardless, so if it's someone else's she-slave, so it's the same as like your mahram. Okay, so even they narrate this story of Umar radiallahu anhu. Sahaba say we used to visit, okay, Umar radiallahu anhu, and he used to have slaves, she-slaves, and they used to give us water, like hosting us, and their breasts would be hanging, and we could see all of that, So I would say it's just culture. It's just culture. For example, this thing in Uzbekistan, it was not accepted. So it's different culture. Okay, I do believe that in subcontinent also, even in the past, she-slaves would not be, with the breasts like uncovered, and so it's just Arabians. They used to do it in Hijaz in that time. Eh, khuda. والخصي في النظر إلى أجنبية كالفحل. In terms of looking at a woman, it's same. If it's the person, خصي means castrated or normal. So both cannot look. Okay, so ولا يجوز للمملوك أن ينظر إلى سيدته إلا إلى ما يجوز. But in terms of, so for example, man, if he has a she slave, so he can look at everything, but otherwise, so he says no. So some lady has a slave, so her slave cannot look at her, but she has to keep the hijab. وَيَعْزِلُ عَنْ أَمَتِهِ بِغَيْرِ. So if you have a she slave, so you can drop the semen during the sexual act outside of the womb, even if she does not give you permission. But if you have a wife, no, she has to give you permission to drop outside. But if she says no, so you have to drop the semen inside. ويكره الاحتكار في أقوات الآدمي والبهائم. Also, it's makruh to do ihtikar. And what's the ihtikar? So ihtikar is, the essentials, food. You monopoly, isn't it? Monopoly, yeah. But that is only for the essentials. But for example, what about chocolate? Can you do monopoly? In Hanafi, we say yes. Monopoly is to do with the essentials for both of the humans and animals. And if it is something that you are producing, so then you can manipulate it. Like you produce some certain specific type of apples, so you can do it. I mean, you produce it and you wait for it to increase the price, then sell because you did produce. But if it is a commercial thing coming from abroad, if it's essential, then you cannot do. ولا ينبغي للسلطان أن يسعر على الناس. Obviously, the government will not get involved into specifying prices. Okay. ويكره بيع السلاح في أيام الفتنة. During the time of mess, it's not permissible to sell weapon, like a knife and etc. while there is mess outside. ولا بأس ببيع العصير ممن يعلم أنه يتخذه خمرا. And if you produce juice, and this factory comes, the factory of whiskey, for example, wine factory, and they buy grapes or your juice, is it permissible? We say in Hanafi, yes. As far as I remember, in Shafi'i, they say no. Okay, so inshallah, we're going to stop here. Yeah, and that much should be enough, inshallah. And I will see you guys maybe sometime in March or then, because now I have to go back because I have my. Okay, so thank you very much. We will do the. I'm not really sure because we have Usul Shashi also. We have to finish off that also. I don't know what is going to be. If you guys are going to do another year, so then could be this and that also, or else only Usul Shashi. Wallah. Okay, Sayyid. Assalamu alaikum.